How effective, how did you feel at practice today? And do you kind of change the size of like what you're wearing on your finger? How much of a process is that?
Yeah, look, I felt okay throwing the ball today. Again, it was kind of one of those things Sunday where I felt like I was able to do what I needed to do, and I think that will be, again, a work in progress throughout this week to see what my effectiveness is. As far as what I what I do as far as the splint and tape and all that, we've tried a handful of different things already. We'll continue to try other things and figure out what works best.
Could the weather conditions affect any of that stuff too? Like the weather?
Yeah, look, we'll keep an eye on the weather. I know Sean made a comment that there's rain in the forecast, and certainly having a hand injury and having a weather game is not ideal. But we'll continue to work through that and figure out the best solution to what I'm dealing with.
Is it something that'll eventually have to get surgery, or?
No. There's a couple options. You can have surgery, you can fix it that way, or you can splint it for 8 weeks, and hopefully that scars down and you have the full use of your hand. So we've explored different options. We've had multiple conversations with other specialists, and I think right now I'm gonna just try to splint it and see how that does. But if you can avoid surgery, I'm certainly a fan of doing that.
Is it because of the finger that you dropped the water? No. So seriously, I wondered, do you feel like this has been a bit of a overall relatively difficult year for you that could still, in spite of all that, end up being rather fulfilling because of the opportunity that's in front of you for the last?
I don't know. I mean, look, we've talked at length of this year for me and the ups and the downs, and managing expectations and disappointment and all that stuff. And I will tell you, throughout this year, I have learned that you manage the opportunities that come your way, and that's really been where my mindset has been. What can I do each week to help our team win football games and be effective? And so that mindset has carried me through the season. It's no different now than it was last week than the previous week. And so now that I've had an opportunity to play full-time QB, this is the next opportunity for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of that and help us win games.
With difficulty, I also meant a little bit the injuries too. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But now you obviously have experience with injuries before pro football. Did that perspective help you?
For sure. I think as as a football player in general, you have these moments where you realize that you can't take things for granted. I certainly had a lot of those moments in college. And then I would say this year I've had a lot of moments like that too, where there was a disappointment obviously at the beginning of the season, dealt with a concussion, missed a couple weeks, and sitting at home watching your team play without you was definitely one of those moments for me that you can't take for granted these moments. You can't take for granted your health, and then dealing with the foot and missing a couple more weeks, and and then I come back and I get to play full-time QB. So this year's been a little bit of a roller coaster for me, physically, mentally, and all that stuff. But to answer your question, yes, my experience in college has certainly helped me manage that, and this year has been no different in having moments that help you realize you just can't take these moments for granted.
Is there a, you said it's a process of figuring it out. Is there a moment like on Friday or Saturday or Sunday that you feel uncomfortable and say, this isn't for the benefit of the team, or do you think you'll be okay?
Look, that's a tough thing to do.
Sure.
I'm trying to find that balance. If I'm being honest, and I've had conversation with some of the coaches. Like, listen, I'm going out to play. I'm going out to compete. I'm going out to practice at full go this week. And if you guys see something to where you feel like I can't be as effective as I need to be, then I get it, and I'm a team guy. Like, I'll be available to play at whatever capacity that looks like. But my mindset, is to prepare to play at full capacity, and then we'll go from there. I don't know how else to approach it.
What
sounds
were the,
like a-
can you still get all the steam on the ball that you normally do?
You know, as I mentioned earlier, it's a work in progress. So I'm figuring out the best process to make sure I can make all the throws that I need to. I felt pretty comfortable today making the throws that I needed to, though.
What were the positives you took from the last game?
Look, I mean, I think we moved the ball. You know, I think we had over 400 yards of total offense, and so you look at some of those numbers, and you're like, wow, that was a positive from this game. And then you kind of start watching it, and you look at some of the stuff that happened, and you're like, well, yeah, you realize you put 17 points up because you had 4 turnovers, and so, you know, all the positives were just kind of overshadowed by the turnovers. So when you did have opportunities to score, we didn't take advantage of them. But I thought overall, our tempo was good, man. I thought guys played, you know, hard with a lot of, you know, passion, and, you know, I thought that we did a lot of things really well up front. You know, we moved the ball, we ran the ball well. Again, it's just overshadowed by the turnovers.
Did you think a hurdle was in the equation for you with the foot injury?
You never know.
Like you were moving pretty well out there.
Yeah, you just never know. Look, you get on the field and your instincts just kind of take over, and that was one of those moments where instincts take over, and you know, I think in my head too, like, your foot's bothering you, all this, and the mindset for me last week was, hey, get to Sunday, because you know Sunday you get on the field and your instincts are going to take over, adrenaline, and you're going to have the ability to do what you need to, and that's how I felt Thursday.
Whatever day it was.
Yeah.
No one knows what day it is anymore. Sounds like a silly question, but what does the finger, like, what does it feel like? Does it, like, sting? Like, does it burn? Does it not feel, does it feel weird? Like, how would you describe that?
I don't have a lot of pain with the finger. You know, I've kept it splinted since it happened, and so that really I haven't had any pain when it's in the splint. I think the sensation of gripping the ball, throwing the ball, that has changed, and that's been the biggest thing. And as I mentioned earlier, it's trying to figure out what is the best process to have that feel as normal as possible, and that's what we're working through, because you know, you do something to your hand and your finger on your throwing hand, and all of a sudden things change and you're trying to adjust.
When you're gripping the ball, what does it feel like? Like, your finger, like, is weak? Like, what does that feel like for somebody who wouldn't know what that's like?
Yeah, I think it's a little limiting, because you don't have every joint that you're able to grip the ball, and so your grip doesn't feel as strong when gripping and throwing the ball. So we're trying to do things to compensate for that.
I know you said you're looking for the best process. Did you feel like you kind of found that process today, or do you feel like you're going to need a little bit more time to hone in on it?
Well, I think for the options that have been presented to me, yes, I have found the best option that's been presented, but I know that there are other ideas that are circulating about, you know, a few other options. So we'll continue to explore it.
You ran for 100 yards in that game, and also still were able to throw for a lot. It's probably not going to be any worse than it was in the last game, right? And do you think that your dual threat component in many ways, or do you hope kind of on balance makes it a favorable situation, even if there's a little bit off when you're throwing?
It certainly adds a different element for a defense to try to defend and stop. So I think that certainly helps to answer your question. So yeah, I think that being able to run the ball really well opens up your pass game, and that historically has always been, you know, let's establish the run so we can open things up down the field. So I think that helps. But you know, I'm certainly not interested in going out there and, you know, playing mediocre football. So I think that's the balance right now.
So if you were just a pocket passer and didn't run, you'd still feel with the finger as it is like you should still be playing, or no?
I don't know. I think, again, if I'm not able to function as a pocket passer, then, you know, it's not fair to those around me if I can't do that. So I think that's just where we're at.
How important do you think are the next 5 weeks to proving that hey, I can do this on this level?
Look, I'm not overcomplicating anything. My mindset is far from that as possible. This is the opportunity that's in front of me right now, and look, I don't care if I'm the full-time, starting quarterback, or I'm playing tight end and running back and QB at times, or special teams, or whatever it is. When I'm retired and I'm doing whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do whatever I can as good as I possibly can. And I know what I'm capable of doing as a football player, and I'm comfortable with that. So I'm not overcomplicating anything. And I'm taking it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and I'm gonna give it my all, whatever it is.